My name is William Kumwembe and this is Business Time. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. And coming up in the program today, FDH Bank engages stakeholders on the 2024 performance. We speak with authorities on how the bank fared in the year ended December 31st, 2024 and how the future looks like. And also in the program, private sector challenged to partner with government entities for growth. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. This is Business Time, and in our main story in the program, in 2024, FDH Bank made a 74 billion kwacha profit, about 100% up from the 2023 figure. Now, on Tuesday, the bank engaged its stakeholders to give an account of how it fared in the year ended December 31st, 2024, and also give a hint regarding to outlook for the year 2025 and beyond. We caught up with the bank's managing director for an insight on how the future looks like.
No, the bank is prepared. Obviously, in such situations, we have to come up with strategies on how we can overcome that. And I can assure you the bank is prepared. From different angles. The issue of managing the risk, the issue of finding alternative businesses, the issue of going into other avenues that will still ensure that the bank is still floating. Obviously, it's the strategies that we put in place. First and foremost is to say we need to focus on the customer and ensure that whatever they need is actually provided to them. And the other issue is to ensure that we operate efficiently by making sure that turnaround times on certain processes are actually improved. We also continuing to do innovative, continuous innovation, whereby we are upgrading our systems, we are upgrading our delivery channels. All that we believe is going to ensure that we move forward without forgetting that we need to continuously develop our staff so that they deliver excellent service to the customers. When you look at the inflation, when it goes up, it means things are going up, and therefore the bank is also affected in terms of cost that it does with business. And therefore what we need to do is ensure we contain our costs with the intention that we maintain the good performance that the bank is doing.
Now, FDH Bank board chairperson is Charity Nseka. In this interview, she gives an insight regarding the outlook in as far as strategic growth of the bank is concerned.
We talked about staff development as one of the strategic pillars. So staff development also means that we have to upskill our staff, but also the commitment of our staff. And the environment, in a way, very challenging, but we took up the challenge and hence the good performance. I would say mixed bag, because you'll appreciate that there's still some challenges in the economy. But we always strive to take up the challenges. And if we maintain this trend, the future looks very bright. The challenges, one of the challenges, as already alluded to by the MD, is the forex issue. The other issue is the inflation. I would say the macroeconomic fundamentals are really very challenging, but we will strive to surmount the challenges anyway, with the support of the regulators like the Reserve Bank and the government as well.
A call has been made for enhanced collaboration between private sector players and the government for growth. This was made at the weekend during the Malawi Confederation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry MCCI Business Summit in Mangochi. Our journalist Kumwembe was there and has filed this report.
The Indawa brought together private sector players, government officials and other stakeholders to deliberate strategies for economic growth. MCCI President Wesley Piri says amid prevailing economic challenges, the industry maintains the drive for growth.
We don't have an option. This is the only option that we have. So we're not looking at the viable options or not. We have just to stand our ground and work within the environments that we have. As MCCI, I talked about what we discussed last year, what we've done so far, reaching where we are. and the lobbying that we've done based on the issues that we've seen. So where we are as a chamber is where we have to lobby for an environment that is good for the private sector. But to say we need to have a proper environment for us to operate is something that we cannot base on. We just have to come in and do what we are supposed to do as the private sector. There is some that have gone through, looking at something that have been put in the budgets, last year budget and part of this year budget, but most of them, they haven't gone through. We understand, I think this year we're going towards the elections, so the government also has got its own angle in terms of the voters and all that. But some of the things are not the things that we would have expected from MCCI. But looking at the environment itself, I think there are some policies that have been put in place that we believe if they were communicated a bit better, they are supposed to be on the advantage of Malawians. For example, some of the directives that came from the minister, there have been some import bans. Those ones, I think the issue might be to do with maybe some of how the communication has been going with the neighbors and all that. But I think, and we think, they are better for this country, where you have to look at our domestic industry. How can we sustain it? How can we also compete and do things that should be able to export outside?
British High Commissioner to Malawi, Fiona Rich, pointed to specific sectors with growth potential, particularly energy and mining, urging the private sector to remain committed despite the difficult business environment.
What we are seeing is a time of unprecedented global change, and many countries are focusing hard on their own priorities and rethinking what their strategic priorities are across the world. I think this has been coming for some time, that countries who are dependent on aid have long needed to think about how they can develop economic growth themselves. It's an inside job for a country to become prosperous. Development partners can help, and development partners will still be here for Malawi. The UK is still a critical partner for Malawi. What we are doing is rethinking what that partnership looks like. And for a country that needs to grow, trade needs to become more important. Large flows of development assistance are likely to reduce. So the question for countries like Malawi is, what do they need to do to encourage their own economic growth? And how do they work with the private sector to do that? Well, the first thing that the private sector really needs is the right kind of macroeconomic environment. They need stability, they need the right regulatory framework, and they need private sector development to be incentivized. And with that, they can then develop a business idea, grow that business, they will employ Malawians, they will pay tax, and they will continue to contribute to their communities. And through their own development as businesses, they will provide services that Malawians need. And as Malawians become more wealthy, they'll be able to afford those services. It's kind of a virtuous cycle where it starts with business ideas and it turns into growing Malawi's consumer base and tax base.
Keynote speaker Professor Bonang Francis Mohale stressed the importance of government-business collaboration rather than confrontation.
So the first is to say, if this is your land, what then are your stories? Because if we don't tell our stories, other people might tell our stories in a manner that we do not like. In fact, we need to think for ourselves. Because if we don't think for ourselves, then we place our future in the hands of others. It is up to us to create our own new world. The second thing is that African leaders must stop fighting with each other and one another, because together we can accomplish that which on our own will take us inordinately long. And Chinua Achebe, the author and the poet, reminds us of that when he says, he is a fool, he who treats his own brother worse than a stranger. That when two brothers fight to death, a stranger will inherit their father's estate. Therefore, I think we need a different type of leadership. The type of leadership, especially business leadership, that understands that first and foremost, business is not our second chance, but our last chance.
The summit highlighted that while significant challenges remain for Malawi's business environment, proactive private sector leadership working in harmony with the government could unlock the country's economic potential.
Moving on with the program, matters of standardization are essential in as far as growth of business is concerned. Lately, Malawi has been experiencing a number of challenges, especially consumers lamenting over expired products in some of the shelves in the supermarkets. And the Malawi Bureau of Standards has come full throttle to address the problem by ensuring that players in the industry are adhering to the issues of standardization. On Monday, Malawi Bureau of Standards engaged stakeholders to a training on how to ensure standardization of commodities and products entering into the shops. Our journalist, Benedetta Chiwandamia, was there and has filed this report.
The program aims to raise awareness among stakeholders about conformity assessment. These are activities that ensure products, services, or individuals and organizations meet specified international requirements as outlined by the International Organization for Standardization, ISO. Tole noted that although Malawi is a member of ISO, international conformity assessment committees are largely dominated by representatives from developed countries, which often disadvantages developing countries as emerging standards may not adequately reflect their specific needs or scope. He stressed the need for local industry experts to join technical committees, thereby ensuring Malawi's interests are represented and promoting a common language across industries. Speaking on the sidelines of the event, MBS Director of Quality Assurance, Gloria Chaonamwene Meleka, said Malawi's quality infrastructure remains at low position due to limited participation in international conformity assessment bodies.
As Malawi Bureau of Standards, we have got a number of standards in the conformity assessment area. These range from the quality management system standards, environmental management system standards, for the standards for that show requirements for the certification bodies to comply with. Then we have got a number of conformity assessment standards, and the focus of this awareness is not on the standards themselves, but on the conformity assessment bodies, so that they are aware, and then we establish the ISO MIRA committee for Malawi. We have got a number of challenges in Malawi, and we're talking about our quality infrastructure itself is very at low position currently because members are not participating in the conformity assessment bodies. So this is a challenge for Malawi. As a result, we find that most of our products are not accepted internationally, and then even our services, and this involvement of conformity assessment bodies, it will help to open the market for Malawi. We are very better, of course better than the past few years because of the area of accreditation. Malawi, most of the laboratories were not accredited to international standards. Because of the lack of accreditation, most of the traders had challenges to market their products at international market. So the challenges that we had were most of the laboratories were not accredited, but currently we have got a number of accredited scopes even within the Malawi Bureau of Standards, and a number of the laboratories in the hospital institutions, they are also accredited. So currently we don't have much challenges. That's why we are at a place where we are ready to participate in the international standardization development. Yeah, if we talk about MBS facility, you know that at first, before we moved to that new facility, state of the art, which was purposely built for the labs that was international compliance labs, the offices, the labs were very small, and we could not even we could not even manage to keep the equipment that we are able to keep now. So currently, because we have got a place where we can be accredited, we have extended our accreditation scopes. We are accredited in many of the scopes, and we are at a position where we can actually put Malawi on the map. And the building has contributed a lot to that, because the environment is now conducive for the accreditation.
Meanwhile, senior lecturer and head of the Department of Foundation Sciences at Kamuzu University of Health Sciences, Victor Jovu, said the engagement was very important for the industry to understand what is required to meet ISO standards.
This engagement is very important especially to us stakeholders. I'm from the academia, but we also have stakeholders from the industry and other areas. And we think that this engagement is very important because while Malawi Bureau of Standards has moved and it has international facilities, but there is no awareness of the conformity assessment activities for us from the industry. So I think this is important for us to be aware of what needs to happen so that we can conform to the ISO standards. Firstly, I think Malawi Bureau of Standards has taken the right step to get us informed and aware, and now it is upon us to make sure that we participate in these activities. We come up with what they call the ISO mirror committees, which we can participate in and benefit so that we, as a country, are able to contribute to the development of the ISO standards, and also we are able to be part of the process. So it's a very important engagement.
Malawi became ISO member in 1969 with the Malawi Bureau of Standards, which is the national standards body for Malawi, as a participating member of the ISO. The organization involves experts from across the world in developing international standards to ensure quality, safety and efficiency.
Now, in other business news, Malawi remains one of the countries with lowest insurance penetration in this region. The country has tried in the recent past to ensure that it increases the rate from the recent 2.0% to somewhere around 3%, and stakeholder engagement is one of the key ways towards addressing the problem. One of the issues that has been brought to the fore is the drive by Institute Insurance of Lilongwe, which are driving many stakeholders to take part in informing the masses regarding insurance as one way of addressing the vice. Our journalist Jimmy Chazama caught up with one of the officials from there who explains the essence of stakeholder engagement to ensure increased penetration.
Reinsurance is an elusive topic in the insurance sectors, whereby a lot of market players are not very well versed in the topic. So we organized this training in order to at least close some gaps or to impart the knowledge and expertise to the market players in respect of the reinsurance. Plays a vital role in the insurance market as it enhances capital to insurance companies in the way that insurance companies are able to underwrite bigger or larger risks, which ordinarily they wouldn't have underwritten. And again, reinsurance minimizes the exposure to insurance companies. So with the knowledge gap which is there was some sort of, there was people who couldn't know exactly what impact this gap could have to their respective companies and even the insuring public. So when the people are now knowledgeable, when they are taught, when they are given the knowledge and the expertise, they will conduct their duties knowing the impact of this topic in their day-to-day job.
On the sidelines, Jimmy also engaged some key stakeholders, including underwriters, to understand their role in ensuring increased insurance penetration in Malawi.
No, the key issues were, introducing the underwriters to principles of reinsurance, basically the introduction of insurance. And in most cases, you know, as we are emeritusly the only resident reinsurance company in Malawi. So in terms of capacity building, it is also one of our mandate to train the underwriters. They are insurers, yes. So insurance contracts are totally different from reinsurance companies. So as reinsurers, we insure insurance companies. When we write, when insurance companies write major risks, they can just keep what they can chew and then pass out the excess liabilities to the reinsurer. So the reinsurer, in principle, even on the capital requirements, they are supposed, even by legislation here in Malawi, to have ×2 or double the minimum capital requirements required. So when we insure the insurance companies, we are basically, you know, on the lead in terms of these the coverages of the risks. And also in Malawi, we came very handy in the past 2 or so years as reinsurers on the catastrophes which hit the country, the cyclones. In as much as insurance companies, they are the flag to the public to say they have indeed paid major claims. At their back, there is a reinsurance company. So we actually, you know, helped there to pay a lot of major claims. Very few are now to be finalized. The refresher courses, as I said, they are important. As I said, most of the underwriters in there, they belong to the participants. They belong to insurance retail brokers, then insurance companies. So the facilitators are reinsurers. We are trying to train them, but of course we know that a reinsurance contract, sometimes it's a back-to-back contract with the insurance contract. So these refresher courses allow these upcoming, you know, underwriters to grasp the core of reinsurance. But of course, there are some similarities. Of course, it will be also repeating on what they also somehow deal with on a day-to-day basis on the insurance side.
This training is very important to me because I think after this training I'll get more experience, and this is my first time to attend the reinsurance training, so I've learned a lot, and I also share with my workmate when I go to the office. Like how we can make sure that we don't make losses where we are receiving the risk.
Well, on that note, we've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. Thank you for watching. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, then it doesn't make sense. Goodbye for now.